Welcome to the Block Podcast. My name is Dallas. It's my wonderful co-host Robin. Today we are talking about love. I feel like right now there is a lot of the opposite in the world.
Oh yeah.
And we was like, we need something light.
Yeah.
Something just good spirited to talk about. So we're gonna dive into love this week. I'm excited for it.
Me too. I'm excited for this topic too. As you said, I feel like we need a lot of love right now. Considering all the things that are going on in the world and just trying to spread more of that. So excited to talk about this topic for sure.
Let's dive in.
Let's do it.
Start with just simple, like, what does love mean to you? Like, when someone says, like, talk to me about love, how do you talk about it?
When I think about love, I think about support. People who are willing to see you for who you are, no matter what the outside world may bring. When I think about love, it's how I'm treating people and how I'm being treated. When I think about love, I think about myself, how I'm loving on myself. Self-love is the best love. Love means a lot to me. What about you?
Probably two points. First point being like kind of like you said, like the trifold, like love of yourself, love of others, and love of the world.
Yeah.
Like the environment. And I think that's really simple, but like it seems like that's not something that we're getting right, even in its simplicity. So I think that's where I try and like when I think about love, it's like, okay, am I loving myself? Am I loving the people who love me? And am I showing respect to this world that's like, where I have this space to love in general? And then two, I feel like for me, it's just like a feeling, whether that be when you're around people or you're doing something that you're passionate about, like it's an undescribable feeling that's like, almost like a drug. It's like, It just feels so good. And it's like, that's how you're doing something that you love, that you want to be doing, or that you're passionate about, or that you feel is important in your life. And the people too, like when you hang around people, that you don't really vibe with, like you feel that. Mm-hmm. So on the flip side, when you hang out with people that you really love and that you really enjoy their company, it's like, I can tell this is a very real and genuine relationship.
I'm trying to right now, in my head, I'm thinking, I'm sure there's a million ways that people would describe what love actually is and how they perceive it. Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm trying to figure out what ways I go about giving out love in 2025.
Yeah.
Considering that we have a lot of negative going on, a lot of people may not know how to navigate through difficult times and just be positive in these moments. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to think right now what is something that would help keep up that positivity. Any suggestions?
For me, I think personally, like I pride myself on this, listening.
Oh yeah.
Giving people, like, this and everyone knows this, like everyone is fighting a million battles every day, and that's usually why people act the way they do a lot of times. They're struggling behind the scenes. Yeah. And so I feel like for me, it's when you put those fears, anxiety, stressors like out into the world, like it takes it off of your shoulders. So giving people the space to be able to do that, where like active listening and like listening, not to like give advice, not to like be like, it'll be better, just to simply listen to what's going on. I think in my own life, I've seen like helps a lot.
Yeah, I like that. I think listening is a good part of showing love. Because it lets that person know and see that they're being heard. Mm-hmm. Versus, I feel like there's nothing worse for you than feeling like you're not being heard in certain situations. So
exactly.
I think a good way to spread love is just listening, how you said, and just being compassionate and letting people know you care. Because a lot of people are going through different things that they may not know how to talk about or may just be struggling in general. So
I like
that point too.
Yeah. It's easy to be like, look up the 5 love languages. And I think it's important everyone take that test so they know in what ways they like to be loved and what ways they're best at giving love.
For sure.
Especially when you're like in like romantic relationships where like, your partner, that's important to know about your partner. I think it's also important though, like, don't let that be everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if your love language is like words of affirmations, but your partner's isn't words of affirmations, like, you know what I'm saying, that can make you feel down if they're not always complimenting you.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they love you any less. That's just not how they show love. So it's always take it with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? Which is why for me it's about going with that gut feeling.
Yeah.
Trusting yourself that your stomach and your heart knows like who's supposed to be around you and who isn't, I think is important.
I think it's important too. I like that you brought up knowing your love language, because sometimes people don't know necessarily what people need.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could get it wrong quite often, but just learning what your love language is, it helps other people understand what you need. When you need to feel more love, when you're asking for more of those things, it helps to know, okay, I need more quality time in my life. I need more positive words in my life. I need more security in my life. I'm feeling super anxious about things. I need more
I get it. Yeah.
building and bonding relationships, things like that. I feel like those are good points to bring up. I feel like for me right now, I have a great relationship that's very supportive, which is something that I'm so happy that I get to talk about current day, because out of all the things that I've faced, and I think in the episode where we talked about me being so far away from my family and things that I once knew in my past, I feel like the love that I receive now from my partner is very great, because she makes me feel supported. She makes me feel loved. She makes me feel appreciated. So regardless of all the dark things that are going on around us, election, presidency, all these good things, I feel like just having at least one person in your life that's like, hey, you're still doing good. You're still doing great. I feel like that's an amazing act of love to have in my life. So
I agree with that. I think it also helps, like, when you have, like, for me, like, in my relationship, like, a strong base of, like, this is what healthy communication looks like. And I can apply that to my other relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we were talking and it wasn't like that, I'd be like, something's kind of off. Like, or just being able to know, like, okay, the only way I know how to get through stuff is through communication.
Yeah.
And thankfully here, like, there's a space safe enough where it's like I don't feel the need to have to bottle everything in, which I think is a blessing. I'm
grateful and I'm glad that we've created this space to be so healthy and just, allow ourselves to communicate, because I feel like love is also about, like you said, communication. Never want to hold all these things in, never want to just feel like you're alone and by yourself. So with us talking about spreading love, I hope that we're doing that for the people that are around too, people who watch, the people who need it the most, because when we started this podcast, mental health, that's a big part of love. A lot of people feel depressed, upset, angry, or just holding things in general. And I feel like starting a podcast about mental health is a way for us to spread love to the community. And I always say this, I'm sure I do, that like I didn't have these things when I was younger, and if I did, I feel like growing into the adult that I am today, I don't really know. I want to say I could have been more well off, but at the same time, can't go back in the past. So I'm really grateful to even, one, just be sitting here having these conversations and having this space, and two, also giving back that love to people who may need it in the long run or right now. So
I think it's important. I really like what you said, and I think that makes me think about like how important it is to like not just solely rely on love every time. You know what I'm saying? For healthy relationships and all that stuff, like that's one of the biggest factors, but it's not the only factor. You got to be able to admit when you were wrong, and stuff like, and that's like the hard stuff, but it's like the love that makes you want to be like, I want to work this out, I want to make this better, opposed to like being like, well, forget about this. Too much work, And so like I say that because like kind of going back to the love languages, something really important that I learned was intent versus impact. So it's like your intentions may be good, but what actually happened might not actually be good. I think we got to be aware of that. So it's like, if I don't know that your love language is words of affirmation, and I keep bringing you gifts, and you're like, bro, this does not make me feel better. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I bought you gifts. Like, you should be happy now, and I'm showing you love. And it's like, that is true. And I see where your heart was in the right place, but that's not actually helping the situation. That's not actually helping the person that you're trying to show love to. Like, you got to meet them at their level. And love is about, 50-50 and compromise. And
That's where I'm at right now with a lot of situations in my life now that you bring up 50-50. I have these moments in my life where I want to give more and I want to, I want to be the best to everybody in my life, friends, family. But there are times in life where you're not receiving these things on the other side that make it a little bit more difficult to share that love. Because we've talked about standing on boundaries and making sure you hang around positive people who are good for you. So when it comes to talking about love, like, yes, love is important, but I don't ever want love to feel one-sided. You know what I mean? I never want to just feel like I'm giving all this love and I'm not receiving anything in return. So this year, I think I've been more focused on staying firm in my boundaries. No matter how much I want to love, because like I'm a very loving person. I would do anything for anybody, big or small. And so right now it's kind of hard for me to navigate between the 50-50 without stepping on my own toes and, not standing firm in my own beliefs. Because then I would just feel like I'm doing what everybody else wants me to do at some point. And so I'm really battling with that right now, trying to show up for myself in a loving way, but also make sure I'm loving on other people in the way that they need to receive that love. So I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. That made a lot of sense. Like it's a slippery slope because it's like you can't always be filling everyone else's cup because your cup is going to be empty all the time. You know what I'm saying? So you got to like give and take. And I think for me, love is very natural and it should be very authentic and genuine. So like if there are people who just never support you, like I don't think that's love.
Yeah.
Or I don't think that's a friend. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard sometimes especially when you've known people for a long time or something like that, but maybe there's not the capacity to give you love. And that's okay, but that doesn't mean you have to keep them around you at the same time, And so I think it's important that you like listen to yourself and listen to your needs.
I think I'm learning loving people from a distance is not bad. Because all my life I've just wanted to keep people super close regardless of the damage or the trauma or anything. I've always been a person that's like, oh, it's okay, we can get through this together. But now that I'm 26, I'm realizing that it's okay to love people from a distance and not necessarily be so invested into the relationships that aren't necessarily healthy for you.
Right.
And I think that's a hard part for me, being such an empath and wanting to love on everybody and wanting to give so much. So I'm trying to find better ways to express my love without overly extending myself.
Yeah. I think that's hard. I think for me, 2025, I want to be better at being vocal about the people I love. I don't doubt that the people who are in my life know that I love them.
Yeah.
But I think I need to make more of a calculated effort to be like, yo, I was thinking about you today. I just want to check in, make sure you were good. I get caught up in assuming people know how I feel opposed to just telling people how I feel.
Yeah.
And I think part of love is expressing it. And like being like, if you really love this person, there shouldn't be anything shy about it. And that's just me.
I had this, I'm glad that you brought that up, as far as like expressing love. Because I recently just had this therapy session where I was battling all these emotions between calling my grandma. My mom had recently just moved back to Chicago, and it's been something that's been very hard for me to navigate through. And I was like, man, I have no family here now. The only person that I consider family here was my mom, minus my friends. And so I had avoided calling my grandma for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And when I went to this therapy session, she had me call my grandma on the phone and was like, well, you're avoiding this when you could just call and just see, what's up, how she's doing and how she's been. And so long story short, I wound up calling my grandma after battling all these internal thoughts like, oh, she does not want to talk to me. Maybe she's too busy. Maybe she's caught up with my mom.
Yeah.
And so when I called my grandma, it was very sad because long story short, my grandma just had not been feeling well. But all it took was just one call for me to be like, hey, I love you. I miss you. What are you up to? What are you doing? And that solved all of that. So just taking the time out to just call and tell them you love them. At least you know that you're doing your part and you're doing everything that you can to save a relationship or show somebody that you love them. I think that's very important to that journey too.
I agree.
So I like that.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So now we talk.
You know what I'm saying? And it's the simplest things. Like, it felt like pulling teeth until you do it, and you're like, oh, that was actually the best decision I could have made, you know? And that's to say, like, love is hard. Love is like, it's very difficult to blindly, in a way, trust someone with your emotions. You know, that they don't have bad intentions. But for me, it's like, it's not my job to decide if you have good or bad intentions with my feeling. That's a reflection of you, not me. I'm here, like, to people in my life, like, I got to show them love and let them know that I care about them, and they'll give that love back, and that's all I can focus on right now. You know, I think trying to figure out who's trying to play you and the universe will sort that out for you, you know, and it'll make it very apparent to you. But I think you waste so much energy trying to figure out who hates you, opposed to using that energy to focus on who loves you. Who's you know? There.
And that's something that I want to say I'm truly working on this year. Not saying that I sit around and focus on the people who don't like me and things like that. Would I say that it bothers me if someone doesn't like me? Absolutely. But I don't want to spend my life focusing on the people who don't like me.
Why don't they like me?
You know what I mean? I just want to focus on the people who support me, who love me, who are, you know, willing to walk 1,000 miles with me, because those are the people who deserve your energy and your time, not all the negativity. I do want to ask you a question, maybe both of us a question, considering that we have all this crazy stuff going on, and it seems like love is not really the end goal in 2025. I don't even really know how to ask this question, but I'm going to try my best. How do you feel we can implement more love in this season that we're in right now with, you know, I want to just put it out there, presidency and the way people are feeling about, you know, the election and all these things. How can we show more love and make sure we're doing our part in 2025 where we are right now?
In how I see it, people have got to be more than a political party or like, you know what I'm saying? As humans, we are such complex beings, and I get like we have our differences, but like a political party, which I feel like is what's very divisive here, like where we're at now, is like, shouldn't be your sole identity. Yeah, he believes in that, and they believe in that, but like for me, talking politics messes up a lot of things right off the jump. Now, take that with a grain of salt, because I do believe there are important things that need to be discussed and talked about in terms of people's rights and stuff like that. But in terms of just your day-to-day life, treat people as if they were all the closest member of your family. You know what I'm saying? Hold doors open for them. Have nice small talk. Like, smile at people. Small thing, you know, like that you can change right away. Like when someone, you know, when you're walking down the street, like nods or something at you or smiles at you, like, oh, that was really nice. Opposed to like walking, someone sees through you, you know, or something like that. So those little things that like make you feel good. Oh, I appreciate you holding the door for me. Small things that like you might have started a chain reaction.
I catch myself doing those things more. And not that I didn't do them in the past, but just like I catch myself doing them more now in 2025, because regardless of what side you stand on in 2025, I don't want to fall on either side of, you know, that. So I catch myself open the door and smiling at people regardless, even if I don't get anything back in return. And I feel like for me, that is me showing love. Like, I just want to go out and respect people, no matter what you may think or no matter what the next person may feel. I feel like me showing my respect and being a solid human being, I feel like that's what keeps me wanting to keep loving and growing and just being a good human overall.
I feel like we've had, like, everyone's had a disagreement and they've yelled like with their friends, and it's like you never once doubted your friendship. You're like, oh, that's just, you know, sometimes we get heated. Like, it's, and I feel like once people can start focusing on like basic, like you said, respect for each other, then you can sit down and start having these crazy conversations, and it's less of two sides yelling at each other and more of two sides trying to figure out a common goal. You know, and so it's like, have that basic just respect, decency, pretend these are your mothers, your fathers, your sisters, your brothers, you know. How would you treat them? And go from there. Which is difficult, you know. Sometimes you're having a bad day, and we get that, you know. But also not projecting. Be like, yo, I'm having a bad day. You know, how's your day? not the best. That's why I'm trying to get in and out of this store. Sometimes people, having worked a lot of retail, people walk up to you and they're like, I hate you.
Yeah.
I'm like, what did I do? I'm just at the cash register.
Yeah.
And I feel like not taking out your anger on people who have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
That's
why I always say, like, it's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to have several bad days. But in those bad days, I just hope and pray that we find the support that we need and we find the love that we need through all the dark times, because I can't sit here and promise the dark times don't happen. January felt like a long month. We all know that.
It felt like 3 months.
And it's only the start of the year. But what we can do for each other is make sure that we're keeping each other uplifted, regardless of the storms that may come or, bad or good times. Like, keeping each other uplifted, I feel like that's the best way to go moving forward in 2025. And just having those positive friend groups, keeping positive energy around, positive vibes. I feel like that's the only thing that I can really say that would keep us all afloat.
Mm-hmm. Also, I think the last thing I really have to say is, like, that hate people have inside heart, it weighs you down.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not just like, oh, I don't like that. Like, it is also taking away from your life.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm always like, the more love I spread, the more life I'll get back. And then like, if you want to, you can think of that in like a selfish way. Like, I want the universe to give me back good things, so in turn, I have to give good things.
I agree. There's this there's a Bible quote that always says, "Do unto others as you want done unto you," and I truly believe that. Rule. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just do unto everybody else as you want done unto you. Don't worry about if this person is over here robbing, stealing, killing. You don't do that stuff. You do the good stuff, like, opening doors, as we talked about, and just living in your truth. And I believe that all those things will come back to you full hand if you're looking for good things to come back. Or you're just living life and just grateful that, you woke up and you get to smell flowers and trees. So I like that a lot. I stand strong in doing unto others as you want done unto you. And I think that's something we should all carry.
I think it's a good place to end it. Yeah. The golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated, man.
And do unto others as you want
Spread
done
love.
Yeah, I like that episode a lot. I think that one was good. You have anything else you want to?
That's all I got to say.
Me too. Okay.
Well, close us out.
Let's close it out. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Block Podcast again. I am Robin. This is my wonderful co-host, Dallas. If you guys love today's episode, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all the love and support, and we will see you guys next time. Peace. Bye-bye.